Hello and welcome back to English for You. I'm Seb.
And I'm Elsie.
And we are still looking at the amazing Aboriginal R&B singer A Bao, who I have to say, I think is going to be like Joe and Baba. When I started writing about both of them for the magazine, and now I can't stop listening to either of them. They are awesome.
Okay.
I think they're so good. And one of the best things we learned from yesterday's episode is that A Bao is really trying to achieve something very important with her music. She's trying to preserve her language and her culture. That is the Taiwan culture.
Taiwan culture.
Where are they? The Taiwan people live in Taidong and Pingdong, I think.
Good question. I think you are right.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
Actually, I went to a Taiwan village once.
Really? Did you try on their costumes or
No, we were driving through and we stayed there for one night. It was called Jinlun. It's in the very, very south of Taidong. And it was a very, very beautiful village in a very, very nice part of Taiwan with all these huge cliffs and beautiful beaches. And so, yes, it is a very special culture from a very special place in Taiwan.
And the artists we introduced yesterday in our For You chat, Matsuka is from the Taiwan.
Right, we were just listening to Matsuka, weren't we? Matsuka is also from the Taiwan country. So let's go on and talk a little bit more about our article and Aboriginal languages. So obviously the Taiwan language is, I think, disappearing. It's not definitely going to disappear, but there's fewer and fewer speakers of the Taiwan language. So how is Taiwan keeping its Aboriginal languages alive?
How can we do it?
Yeah, how can we do it? I know that there is a university in Hualien, actually, Donghua, National Donghua University, which teaches several Aboriginal languages.
You know why?
I think just to encourage people to learn to speak it, right?
And because there are a lot of Aboriginal people in the east of Taiwan.
I see, okay. And I think Hualien has the most different groups.
Yeah, I guess.
I think. So in Donghua University, you can learn Amis, Amezu, Bunun, which is Bunongzu, Truku, Tulugo, which is also called Taroko sometimes, Sidik, and Sakizaya, and Kavalan. So those last two I think are actually quite small groups as well. So they don't teach Taiwan language there, but luckily we have A Bao who is helping us learn all about this fantastic culture. So let's stop talking about Aboriginal groups in general and let's start talking about this album. Let's get started.
Reading.
Introducing A Bao, the Taiwan pop star. Last December, A Bao released her second Taiwan album. Its name, Ginagayan, or Mother Tongue, doesn't just refer to her native language. Because A Bao couldn't speak the Taiwan language properly before, it's also a joke about how her mother would correct her pronunciation. Like A Bao's first album, Ginagayan uses modern musical techniques to combine traditional cultures with modern pop. Its 10 songs are sung in Taiwanese, Amis, English, Mandarin, and Taiwan. Each paints a picture of Taiwan culture, Taiwanese society, and A Bao's different identities. One example of this is Diagudain, No Way, featuring hip-hop artist DJ Didi Long. It's a moving ballad about a Han boy and Taiwan girl. Because of an old Taiwan rule against romantic relationships with outsiders, they cannot be together. Another one of A Bao's songs, Thank You, was written in recognition of the people who've helped her make Aboriginal music. It also shows support for nurses' rights, an important subject for A Bao. These and the other tracks on Ginagayan are not just catchy tunes, they're making the world more aware of Taiwan culture.
So today's article begins by saying, last December, A爆released her second Taiwan album. What is an album?
Well, we're going to find out. An album is a noun, and it is a collection of songs that are released together by an artist or a band. So in the past, albums used to come on discs, so little circles. So that could be a CD or a record. A CD is 光碟, right?
光碟, yes.
Okay. And a record was an older one, the big black ones that sometimes you see in shops or you see DJs using, you know, when there's like spinning records.
黑胶唱片.
So you can still get records and CDs today. However, many albums now are released digitally over platforms like iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. We call the individual songs on an album tracks. And as in, there are 7 tracks on this album. Sometimes artists will want to release one song especially on its own, and we will call this a single. So singles are normally the most popular songs that artists make. So here's an example of single and album in a sentence. Someone Like You is one of the best known singles on Adele's second album, 21.
所以 album 是唱片专辑，那 single 就是单曲。那这边A爆 released an album 就是发行专辑，所以我们用到的动词是 release。那接下来除了有 music album 音乐专辑之外，还有 photo album， 那指的就是相本。那去年12月A爆发行他的第2张排湾族专辑 ，that was the second one.
Exactly. The article says its name, Ginagayan, or mother tongue, doesn't just refer to her native language. And remember there, native language there, we're talking about the language that she grew up speaking or the language of her family.
也就是排湾族的语言。那我们还看到了一个片语是 A refer to B， 这代表 A、B 两者相关。所以这首歌曲 I Need Your Help, Ginagayan, or Mother Tongue。好，它这个专辑名称呢是翻母亲的舌头啊，不只是跟她的母语相关哦。The article tells us because A爆couldn't speak the Taiwan language properly before, it's also a joke about how her mother would correct her pronunciation.
That is very interesting. Okay, so maybe she didn't always speak it. Maybe she spoke it as a child, didn't speak it later, and then she struggled with her pronunciation. So her mother's tongue helped her with her mother tongue.
Right.
Clever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's go on and check our grammar point because we had a good bit of grammar in there, didn't we?
今天的英文练功房呢，我们要看 because 这个从属连接词的用法。那它可以用来引导副词子句、修饰主要子句。先给同学们例句咯。For example, because the weather is bad, we are not going hiking today. 这句也可以怎么说呢？ We're not going hiking today because the weather is bad. 所以呢，如果你把连接词 because 改成介系词片语 because of 的时候，那后面就必须要改接的是名词或名词片语，或者是动名词。那我们把上面的例句换一个方式说 because of the bad weather, we're not going hiking today. 当然你也可以说成 we're not going hiking today because of the bad weather. 那要记得，只要你的句子里面有 because, so 就不会出现，两者不可以同时出现在句子里头哦。
Okay, so we also saw the word pronunciation. Now, pronunciation is a noun, and it is the way we say words out loud. It's an extremely important part of learning a language. So if you have good pronunciation, people will be able to understand you easily. If you have bad pronunciation, though, you won't be understood even if you are using the right words. We could also say that you pronounce these words clearly or poorly. So clearly is well, poorly is bad. So pronounce can also be a verb as well. When we pronounce a word, we sound it out. So if I said the word pronounce, then I just pronounced the word pronounce.
Yes.
Poorly, okay? Because we don't say pronounce, you know?
We say pronounce.
Even though there's an O in it, we say pronounce. That is pronouncing it correctly. Another important thing about pronunciation is being able to make clear sounds. And when you mumble, you don't make clear sounds. When someone mumbles, they kind of speak like this with
就是喃喃自语
not really
碎念的感觉
not really opening their mouths properly and just kind of speaking to themselves, maybe complaining, maybe grumbling, which is another similar word, which is kind of like 碎碎念 you know, when you're kind of just 抱怨 to yourself, you know,
complaining to yourself.
Exactly. So you're grumbling. Anyway, let's look at an example sentence of pronunciation now. Molly had to take lessons to improve her pronunciation because no one could understand her when she spoke.
Pronunciation 呢，在我们学语言的时候很重要，它是发音。那专辑名称《母亲的舌头》（Mother Tongue），它有2层意义哦。一个是取自英文的 Mother Tongue，就叫做母语。我们的母语 ，like my mother tongue is Mandarin Chinese，我的母语是中文。那他用这样的方式呢，去直译它，因为创作有用母语排湾族的语言在里头，这是第一个。那第二个是因为呢，在过去阿包练习母语的时候，常常被他妈妈唠叨他的发音，那被妈妈笑说你的舌头还是不行，所以他想要妈妈的舌头 ，She wants her mother's tongue.
Okay, she actually wants her mother's tongue. Wow.
Right. Okay, and the article continues by saying, like Abao's first album,
Ginagayan
uses modern musical techniques to combine traditional cultures with modern pop.
Which is very cool. We were talking about how this has helped Abao bring Taiwan culture into the 21st century.
Yep.
Okay, let's look at our next word now, which is musical. Okay, our next word is musical, and that's an adjective. The word musical describes anything that is related to music. Think about the word ability, for example. On its own, it just means 功能. It could be any kind of ability. However, if we say someone has a musical ability, we mean that they are good at music or they can play an instrument well. In the same way, the article says that Abao uses musical techniques used in music to present Aboriginal songs in a new and modern way. We can also turn a lot of nouns into adjectives that work like music. So remember in day 1 we talked about cultural, which comes from the word culture. Well, we can also do the same with a few others. So science is another one. We can turn science into the adjective scientific, which just means anything related to science. We could do geography and turn it into geographic as well, or language can become linguistic. So a lot of them end in these C sounds or they end in an L, like cultural or musical. So there are lots of those which you can look at. Most of your school subjects actually can be turned into these kinds of adjectives. After the episode, see if you guys can think of some more nouns that can be turned into adjectives in this way. But first, let's take a look at an example sentence. Trevor has an impressive collection of musical instruments. It includes 3 pianos, 20 trumpets, and 3 saxophones. So, sorry, that was 20 trumpets.
20个.
20个. I wanted to do 20, but then I remembered I only have 10 fingers, so I did 7.
You can use your toes.
Toes, okay. Let me just take my shoes off. No, let's carry on with the vocab. Carry on with the vocab.
所以呢 music 大家都知道是音乐，那 musical 它是形容词，代表音乐的。那这个字也可以当名词哦，代表音乐剧，像是 The Lion King 它是一个 musical， 还有 Cats 猫它也是一个音乐剧。那我们这一张专辑跟第一章一样，都是用到现代的 musical techniques. What are they?
We'll see. Well, a technique we talked about just now in the cutaway, a technique is something that we do. So technique is a noun and it is the skill or method that we use to do a certain thing. So it's a kind of 做法, you know, just a general word that we can use for almost anything. So for example, a painter might use a certain technique to create a certain painting. He could use a certain artistic technique. Similarly, a musician or somebody who's writing music could create a song using a musical technique. Maybe that is a kind of musical style, or maybe it is playing certain instruments. These are all techniques, they're all 做法. Anyway, let's have a look at an example now of technique. Let's look at how we can use this word in a sentence. Okay, so for example, Amelia uses an interesting technique to get Dad to clean her room. Sorry, that should be Amelia used an interesting technique to get Dad to clean her room. She pretended she was sick.
Oh, that was sneaky.
It was sneaky, a sneaky technique.
Technique 它就是方法、手法、技巧。那注意哦，字尾的 QUE 我们发 k 的声音 technique。那因为用了这样的现代音乐技术 ，traditional cultures 传统文化和 modern pop 现代流行音乐可以结合。And then the article tells us its 10 songs are sung in Taiwanese, Amis, English, Mandarin, and Taiwan.
Wow, that's a lot of languages.
对呀，有台语、阿美族语、英文、中文，还有排湾族语。
Okay, so it says that each of these songs each paints a picture of Taiwan culture, Taiwanese society, and Abao's different identities.
Right.
Okay.
所以我们看到 paint a picture of。它是一个我们的 pocket phrase go。那我们知道 paint a picture 是画一幅图，那 paint a picture of something 又是什么意思呢？ Let's watch the video.
Pocket phrase go.
哎呦，今天上学之前，忽然那个柚子跟我要了500块，说是呢要买新课本。看他那个鬼鬼祟祟的模样，不晓得他又有什么坏主意，是不是想去买新衣服？Let's paint a picture of what could happen. 我们一起来想一想，可能会发生什么事情吧。Paint a picture， 画一张图，引申的含义呢，就是描绘一下，想象一下。我们后面呢可以加上 of， 再加上呢你要描绘的事情。例如呢，想一想有什么事情会发生，在脑中画一张图，就是这个意思咯。
To paint a picture of something 代表描绘或是刻画某件事、某个事物。那阿豹的专辑呢，描绘了不同的文化和他自己不同的身份。Next, the article says one example of this is
Tiakudain.
No Way, featuring hip-hop artist DJ Didilong. It's a moving ballad about a Han boy and a Taiwan girl. What's a ballad?
Right, we talked a little bit about ballads yesterday. Ballad is 情歌, isn't it?
情歌
So a ballad is a slow-moving song which tells a story. In pop music, ballads are usually about love or losing someone important to you or losing something important to you. So in the distant past, though, people used ballads. They used ballads to tell stories about battles, kings, and legends. In fact, the first stories weren't actually books that you read. They were really, really long songs called ballads. Anyway, continuing with the article, because of an old Taiwan rule against romantic relationships with outsiders, they cannot be together. This Taiwan girl and this Han boy can't be together because
Poor them. 所以因为一个古老的排湾族规定说呢，排湾族的人不能跟不是排湾族的人谈恋爱。那这边不是排湾族的人，我们就叫他 outsider 外人。那这边就是指不是排湾族的人 ，OK， 所以呢，这就是其中的一首抒情歌，名字再帮我念一次 ，Tiakudain。No Way 是它的英文名字，那中文翻无奈。Okay, and then another one of Abao's songs, Thank You, was written in recognition of the people who've helped her make Aboriginal music.
That's a very nice and uplifting song. It's a lot of it is in English actually, so it's a good song to practice your English.
Right, and recognition 这个名词呢，代表表扬或表彰。In recognition of somebody 代表表扬某人，所以 Thank You 这首歌呢，用来表扬曾经帮助过他创作原住民音乐的人。
It also shows support for nurses' rights, an important subject for Abao.
Oh, because she went back to be a nurse, right?
Yes, exactly. So she cares a lot about the rights of nurses.
所以这首歌也表达她对护士权利的支持。And then the article tells us these and the other tracks on
Ginagayan
are not just catchy tunes, they're making the world more aware of Taiwan culture. 那这边我们看到一个形容词 catchy， 它的意思呢是容易记得的、朗朗上口的。What about tunes?
Tune. Well, we often hear catchy tune together, actually. Tune is a noun, and a tune is a song or melody. Unlike a song, though, a tune doesn't have to have words and it doesn't have to be sung. Tunes can just be music or even the sound of someone humming or whistling. So in the UK, we can use tune as well in a different way. We can use tune to mean a song that we think is really good. This is more like slang. So I could say, have you heard Dua Lipa's new song? It's such a tune. So we will say it's such a tune. That means it's really, really good. I really like this song.
So it's like it's such a great song.
Yes, it's such a great song. Now, there are lots of other phrases we can use with tune, and these ones aren't just in the UK. We could say that someone sings in tune, and that means that they sing well, using the right notes they should be singing. If they sing out of tune, though, it means that they don't really, they're not really getting the notes right. They probably sound a little bit bad. They sound like me, basically.
Okay.
Bad singers. A lot of KTV singers sing out of tune.
Right.
Because they're drunk. Anyway, and we could also talk about someone who is tone deaf. That's even worse. Someone who is tone deaf can't get any notes right. Every tune they sing is 音字. Okay. So yeah, someone who is tone deaf is 音字. Okay, let's look at an example sentence for tune now. Robert whistled a tune to himself while he worked.
Tune 这个名词呢，就是歌曲曲调，所以在 Ginagaya 里面的歌呢，不只是旋律朗朗上口 ，they're also making the world more aware of Taiwan culture. Tell us more about the word aware.
Right, well, aware is an adjective, and when we are aware of something, we know about it. So what A Bao is trying to do here is she is trying to get more young people to know about Taiwan culture. You'll also hear people use the phrase to be aware of something or the noun awareness in a lot of charity events or promotional events. Often at these kind of events and activities, people might be trying to raise awareness or get people to know about a kind of problem. For example, we could raise awareness about global warming. We could get people to know about global warming. That's similar to our example sentence. Not many people in this town are aware of the damage caused by littering, so they often throw their trash out in the street. Very bad.
Right. Aware 这个形容词呢是意识到的或者知道的。Be aware of something 代表意识到、知道某件事。那文章最后说到呢，阿豹的专辑也让世界更知道排湾族的文化 ，and the culture can be preserved. Okay, and now we've reached the end of our two-day article. Let's go to our
For You Chat.
For You Chat.
So our For You Chat question today is, why do you think it is important for us to stop Taiwan's Aboriginal languages from disappearing?
That is a very big question, and there are lots of good reasons why we need to protect Taiwan's Aboriginal languages. I think the first one, which is the biggest, most general one for languages in general, because lots of languages are disappearing, is that every language is different, and every language has different ways of expressing different ideas, talking about different relationships with nature, different ways of writing poems, songs, books. So all of this creativity, all of this art and culture disappears when no one speaks it anymore, because if you
Right.
can't naturally learn to speak it, if you're learning it like a dead language, like Latin, for example, you don't learn things in the same way, you know? So that once that's gone, it's gone. And so it's very important to preserve things and keep them alive for that reason.
Right, because they use the language to express themselves, to communicate. So if the languages are gone, then their cultures are gone too.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not just important for the languages either, it's important for these Aboriginal peoples as well, especially the 16 groups. There's at least 16, I know.
至少16组，对。
Are Taiwanese Aboriginal groups, because they've been in Taiwan for a very, very long time, for well over 1,000 years in some cases, well over 5,000 years actually, some of them. And you know, they have very long histories and very long traditions and cultures that have survived for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years. And for that to disappear because of English and Chinese and all these big languages becoming more popular,
for them.
it is not, it's not fair. It's very, very sad. So it's important that we do what we can to preserve these languages. Okay, so you guys, why don't you guys take some of your time after class now to have a listen to one of Ah Bao's albums. I personally like Tiakudayin the most. That's a song on her last album. But pick any song, have a listen, and let us know what you think. Okay, for English for You, that's all we have time for today. So I'm Seb.
I'm Elsie.
And we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Introducing Ah Bao, the Taiwan pop star. Last December, Ah Bao released her second Taiwan album. Its name, Ginagayan, or Mother Tongue, doesn't just refer to her native language. Because Ah Bao couldn't speak the Taiwan language properly before, it's also a joke about how her mother would correct her pronunciation. Like Ah Bao's first album, Ginagayan uses modern musical techniques to combine traditional cultures with modern pop. Its 10 songs are sung in Taiwanese, Amis, English, Mandarin, and Taiwan. Each paints a picture of Taiwan culture, Taiwanese society, and Ah Bao's different identities. One example of this is Diagudain, No Way, featuring hip-hop artist DJ Didi Long. It's a moving ballad about a Han boy and Taiwan girl. Because of an old Taiwan rule against romantic relationships with outsiders, they cannot be together. Another one of Ah Bao's songs, Thank You, was written in recognition of the people who've helped her make Aboriginal music. It also shows support for nurses' rights, an important subject for Ah Bao. These and the other tracks on Ginagayan are not just catchy tunes, they're making the world more aware of Taiwan culture.
Vocabulary Review.
Refer to somebody or something. The Arab world refers to the 22 countries that speak Arabic as their main language, including Egypt, Morocco, and Iraq. Pronunciation. Tammy has studied French for 5 years, but her pronunciation is so bad that no French person can understand her. Musical. Gina showed great musical ability by learning to play the violin in less than a month. Technique. I learned some painting techniques that helped me improve my art and make it look interesting. Tune. When Gangnam Style came out in 2012, the tune quickly became popular around the world. Aware. We think that this news report about homeless people will make everyone more aware of the problems in this city.
智慧小补帖
Ballad, outsider, recognition.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net